I hate editing. Sometimes.
And by sometimes, I mean all times. All the time. Every of the time.
You like no sunlight? You like not seeing your friends? You like being physically shaped like the letter C from sitting too much? Then boy, do I have the job for you. What's up, everybody? My name is Gary Lawrence, and today we're diving into episode 5 of behind the scenes of my latest short film, Backyard Pilots. You guessed it, this episode's all about editing. So, video editing, for people who don't know, is the process by which you take individual shots and then cut them together in a way that tells a story. So to be a good editor, what you have to do first is you have to know your footage, which means you have to watch everything that has been shot. For somebody like me on this project, it's a lot easier because I also happen to have shot the footage. But if you are a standalone editor and you're taking in footage from somebody who has already shot it, you need to go through every second of that footage and you need to mark it up with different types of markers. You need to make notes so that you have some sort of roadmap going forward. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So this right here is called a shooting ratio. And all it is you take your raw footage in minutes and you divide it by the total run time of the finished film in minutes. And that'll give you your ratio. So if I lay out all my footage of my most recent project, Backyard Pilots, and we look at the total run time of all the footage I shot, we come in a little over 14 hours and 30 minutes. So what this also means is I have to know every second of that 14 hours and 30 minutes of footage. So if I can convert that to total minutes, what we have is a 29-to-1 shooting ratio, which for me is not bad. I could have used a lot more footage, and on a documentary film like this, ideally you have a couple of people shooting. That wasn't the case, so I had less footage than I really wanted as an editor, but that's just what happens sometimes. And as you can see, here is a shooting ratio of popular feature films. I grabbed this from Vashi, I forget his last name, I can't pronounce it, but it's vashivisuals.com, and he does these like cool shooting ratios for popular featured films. So you can see whereabout I landed at 29-to-1. Definitely on the lower end of at least these feature films.
Backyard Pilots for me was a series of highs and lows. Initially, I shot the opening sequence and I edited that in a couple days. Just really went through it and didn't have much to tweak. It was kind of exactly how I wanted it almost right off the bat. Then I got to parts where I needed more footage or I was stuck. I just felt like things weren't going the way I'd visualized.
Right there. Right here should cut to an epic drone shot, but I don't have an epic drone shot.
And when those things happened, it threw a wrench into everything. I stepped away for a while, too long really, and I just had to come back and try to power through everything.
It can be so frustrating. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. Believe me, I don't want to have to go back to the old days to edit a feature film and literally take scissors out and cut film and then tape it back together. I did that in college. I much prefer my computer. I'm talking less technical problems and more like mental writer's block, what I would refer to as editor's block, right? So writer's block for editors. But there's also the other side of the coin where editing can be like almost like magic, right? What happens is you capture these individual shots and by themselves, they don't mean anything. But then you start putting them together and then you start creating a story almost like right out of thin air. And that is incredible. And by the time you're done editing, you got all your clips in order, you got all the edits you want to make, you've done your color grading, you've done your sound effects, you've done all your audio engineering. At the end, you've got a finished story. And that is why I love editing. Sometimes. And that's really where your film starts. Distribution and getting it seen is a completely other
monster altogether. One that I'm not very good at, but I'm trying to get better at. For my film, I was happy knowing at the very least this would be like a home movie on steroids. I did end up entering it into a whole bunch of different film festivals across the country. It is still yet to be seen if we get into any, but I'm hopeful we'll get into one or two just so I can have a little feather in my cap. But I'm not expecting much from that. I'm actually really looking forward to releasing it right here on my YouTube channel so everybody can see it for free. All right, so that's the end of the behind the scenes of Backyard Pilots episode number 5. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. It does help me out, and I will be publishing more content on this channel, as well as the finished final film when it is done making the rounds in the film festivals. Fingers crossed. Yeah, so thanks for hanging out, and until next time, peace.